Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
And thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, where we discuss everything in the world of Major League Baseball. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
My name is Ben.
And guess what, guys? Baseball is officially back. We are in the fourth official day, actually, of baseball. Wow.
Yeah, started Sunday. Only 3 games, but then we had everyone else basically play Monday. Then, Tuesday game, and then obviously we have games today starting at 10 o'clock.
Exactly, 10 o'clock. We are recording this 9:30 on April 5th in the middle of the week. And, since baseball is back, of course, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to discuss, some of the scores from the couple of days ago. We're going to discuss, contracts. We had 3 notable contracts that happened, I think, the day before opening game started. And we have the new segment. I think it was, Team of the Week, Dud of the Week, and Stud of the Week. And we got some studs, we got some duds, and we definitely got some teams that we liked what we've seen so far. But let's start off with, the Sunday games. Since it is the beginning of the week, we don't have a lot of games to talk about, so it's a lot easier to do this. So we'll start with the Sunday games. The first
I feel like it's harder.
No.
You can't take any big takeaways from one game,
No,
so
you
it's a lot
you
harder.
really can't. But,
we have to.
We kind of have to. We don't have anything to work with, Ben. Okay, but let's start off with the first game to officially kick off the MLB season, and that was the New York Yankees at the Tampa Bay Rays. And Masahiro Tanaka really threw a big, fat stinker there.
Yeah, we're going to do the Stud of the Week, the Dud of the Week, and the Team of the Week. What, at the end of the show?
Yeah.
Okay. And Tanaka, I'm going to say now, he's my Dud of the Week. We'll get into some of the specifics, but had a pretty rough outing.
Yeah, and I said this last week's show when we were doing our American League East preview. I said, he has potential to get 18 to 20 wins if he stays healthy, but he also has potential to get 10 to 15 losses.
And the Rays lit him up. Let's leave it at that. They won 7-3 in the game, in control the whole way. Evan Longoria, nice home run there, 2-run homer. So it's good to see the Rays finally get off on the right foot. I think the Yankees have now lost on opening day for the last 6 years in a row.
That is quite a statistic, Ben.
I don't quote me, but I believe it's either 5 or 6 years in a row the Yankees have lost on opening day. So I mean, it's 1 out of 162, but it's not the right way you want to get off on.
No, it's really not.
Start of the season.
But we got a long way to go. We have 150 to 160 games left for each team. So we have a long way to go. And then let's get to the second game of the triple header here that ESPN had, and that was the Giants at the Diamondbacks. And this was the first game of the NL West, and it's the first game for both teams. And I have, you said you had a dud of the week and the last game. I actually had a stud and a dud in this game, and they're on the same team. I'm going to just say now that Madison Bumgarner was probably my stud of the week.
I mean, he would have been mine too, but you obviously beat me to the punch. But so yeah, he had quite a day, not just throwing the ball, but doing some other things. Exactly,
and I have a dud of the week, but I'll get into that why. The Giants lost this game 5-6, and they look like they were about to go on to win the game. I think they were leading 5-4 in the ninth.
Yeah, they were up 3-0 at one point, I believe. Yeah. Diamondbacks fought back. Giants got back up. Diamondbacks fought back, and it was really a back-and-forth game.
Yeah, and so the Giants were up 5-4 in the bottom of the ninth inning. Mark Melancon, who came to the Giants as a free agent, he's supposed to be the lights out closer. And what does he do?
He gives up a couple runs.
Different bullpen, same story. He blew a save.
He blew 10 in 3 years, and he's blown 1 in 1.
Yes, he blew 10 in 3 years, and he's blown 1 in 1 game with the Giants. And maybe we're kind of overreacting here a little bit, but
we totally are.
Yeah,
you can only go off of literally. He's only had 1 appearance.
Exactly. So the reason why I say he's the dud of the week is because, well, I guess I'll save it for the end of the show. But he was a guy that came here to pretty much be the closer, and it's funny because the guy that was the closer last year, Santiago Casilla, had a save for the A's on Monday. So.
And the Giants, literally, he was like a dumpster fire for them last year.
Exactly, he was. So it's funny how things work out, but, we got a long way to go. Mark Melancon, this is probably just a mulligan at this point. It is the first game of the year. It's not like they play 160 games left, so they have a long way to go. But, yeah, this was a very entertaining game. Madison Bumgarner absolutely put on the show. He's the first pitcher to hit 2 home runs on opening day. And I will discuss him a little bit later on the show. So, as for the nightcap here, and this was a really fun game to watch. This was taking place during WrestleMania, so I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I was watching WrestleMania as well.
Okay, so but
literally all day because it was like 5 hours long.
It was a 6-hour show, but I did go back and watch this game, especially the highlights, and this was a very fun game to watch as a nightcap. The Cardinals were up 3-0 in the 8th inning. Then Wilson Contreras hit a 3-1 home run in the 9th inning to tie it up. And then, of course, the Cardinals, they did win the game on a walk-off hit. But this was a very entertaining game to watch towards the end. The Cubs, they looked like they were never out of it, even being down 3-0 in the 8th inning.
Let me just say one thing. I think it's kind of bogus how the World Series champions are starting on the road. Given the fact that the Cubs are one of the top 2 or 3 most popular teams in baseball, and it took them 108 years to win a World Series title, and they start on the road, I would have thought, if anything, they'd start at home. You seem to always do that. Although baseball is a little different. They make the schedule really, really early. I would have thought they wanted him to start at home because think about the ratings. Like opening night, you're revealing the World Series banner 108 years apart from each other. Like, that's just crazy. And the Cubs are so popular in Wrigley Field, but oh well.
Yeah.
That'll happen eventually, just not obviously the first night of the season, which seems characteristically should have happened.
Yeah, and I kind of do agree with you to a point, but, MLB makes the schedule like a year in advance, so that's the reason why. But, yeah, I think it would have been cool to see the Cubs have the banner on opening day at Wrigley Field. I think that would have been really good for the sport, and I think we're in a very good time in baseball. We got the Cubs relevant. We got really big stars in Bryce Harper and Mike Trout. And I think we're heading to a really good time in the future of the sport.
I agree with that. I do agree. And then that kind of takes us over to Monday, Jeremiah, which was, I guess, technically opening day for really everyone else. And we'll just kind of get into some specifics really quickly. The Mets shut out the Braves 6-0. We'll kind of get into like one of my teams of the week, and it's for a bad reason because the Mets, last year a lot of pitching concerns with injuries, and already this season we have 1 game in, and we're already talking about Mets pitching concerns. So we'll get into that. And then one of my takeaways from Monday was Bryce Harper, yet again, with an opening day home run. That's 5 opening day home runs in his career. I don't know what it is, but maybe he should just think it's opening day every day.
Yeah, he might hit he's on pace for 150 right now. Like Madison Bumgarner's on pace to hit 350.
Well, he doesn't play every day.
I know he doesn't. But still, he absolutely smoked this ball. And Bryce Harper just continues to do Bryce Harper things at the plate. And then as we move on, the Red Sox beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-3.
How do you feel about opening the season with interleague?
I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not.
Because that's what we have here.
I like it.
The Pirates at Fenway Park.
I really do like how the league has a lot of interleague games throughout the year, and they don't do it at one point of the season. I do like it. I do like it a lot.
I don't have an issue with it either.
Me neither. It's just, to me, I don't really think it matters. As long as the game counts, as long as it counts, I think, everything will be fine. And, the next game, I have a tough time deciding if this is my team of the week or not. But this is Colorado Rockies. They got off to a really good start. They actually won 2 games in a row against Milwaukee. So they defeated the Milwaukee Brewers 7-5. Really, they just continue to score runs. And, Orioles defeated the Blue Jays 3-2.
And it would be fitting that these two teams on opening day would go to extra innings like the wild card game last year.
Yes.
Like it had to have happened. And Mark Trumbo, of course, with the walk-off in extra innings. So
yeah, and one of the most impressive performances was by a team on Monday, and that was the Dodgers defeating the Padres 14-3.
When I saw this, I was like, typical Padres.
Exactly.
Like, we're already a game in. I think they were down 12-1 or 2 at one point. A grand slam by Jock Peterson. Obviously, Kershaw gives up. I think he gave up all 3 runs. But I mean, it's Kershaw. He'll be okay. Yeah, and the Dodgers just literally blank the Padres. Like,
yeah, he'll be fine.
Just first game of the season, I was like, well, I mean, the Padres are in midseason form already. So
already, they're playing like it's August. And, we got the Twins scoring 7 runs to defeat the Royals 7-1. Phillies got off to a really good start against the Reds 4-3. We got the Indians getting out to a really great start against the Rangers 8-5. We got the Astros shutting out the Mariners 3-0. And then the Athletics, the Oakland A's, defeat the LA Angels of Anaheim with behind 2 home runs from Chris Davis as they move on to a 4-2 defeat. So, that was a really good outing for the Oakland Athletics, who actually lost last night to the Angels.
Yeah, they got their revenge 7-6.
Yeah.
So some games from yesterday, the Tigers and White Sox officially got their season underway. The first game was postponed due to weather. Justin Verlander led the Tigers to a 6-3 victory there. And then the Yankees bounced back from their loss on Sunday to shut out the Rays yesterday 5-0.
And the Giants bounced back in a huge way, 8-4 against the Diamondbacks. And, you got the Rockies scoring runs again, 6-5 against the Milwaukee Brewers. And then, Indians get off to a 2-0 start at 4-3. Then you got the Astros getting off to a 2-0 start 2-1. Cubs get a win in a really good game, 2-1 against the Cardinals. Jake Arrieta was absolutely stud in this game again. And then you got the Angels, like you said, Ben, getting the revenge on the A's 7-6. And the Padres, they get their first win of the season at 4-0 as they shut out the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, Clayton Richard, good game. He pitched 8 scoreless innings yesterday, give up 5 hits.
All right, cool. And as we move on today, we got a lot of good games.
I'm definitely looking forward to today.
Yeah, definitely.
A couple of pitchers I'm really excited to see. Chris Sale's debut for the Red Sox, of course, and then we have Bartolo Colon returning back to Citi Field as a member of the Braves.
Yes, and this is Bartolo Colon's return to Citi Field. And I got to say, man, the hype is real with this one. Bartolo Colon.
I hope he hits a home run.
I hope he hits 2. I hope he ties Bumgarner.
I hope he hits a grand slam.
Oh, if that happens, he will literally...
He'll be the GOAT.
He'll be the GOAT. He will break the internet. If that happens, you have no idea. He'll break the internet if Bartolo Colon hits a grand slam. And I think we discussed this before, I think last year, where Bartolo Colon happened hypothetically hitting a grand slam in the playoffs or late in the season. I did say if he hits a grand slam during the playoffs, the internet will literally break.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
He'll break the internet even more so than Kim Kardashian did a couple years ago. I'm not going to go there.
That'd be good, but unfortunately, we will have 2 games that are postponed today. Cubs and Cardinals, and then Tigers and White Sox again. So, going to be some makeups tomorrow probably. But
yes, and we got I guess we can look at series from this weekend. The Padres, they do face the Giants. We got the Braves and Pirates. We got the Tigers and Red Sox, the Washington Nationals and the Phillies. We got the Dodgers and Rockies at Coors Field. So I expect that one to be a high-scoring affair. We got the Yankees and Orioles. We got the Marlins and Mets, the Blue Jays and the Braves. So we got the A's and the Rangers, the Twins, the White Sox, the Cubs and Brewers, Orioles and the Astros, the Cardinals and the Reds, and we got the Diamondbacks and the Indians in an interleague series, and we got the Angels and Mariners. So, those are some of the weekend series that are going to come up this week. But we have a long way to go for baseball season. But you know what, man? We got to take our first break. We got to discuss some contract extensions. We got 3 of them. We got 3 huge ones, and we're going to discuss what those are when we return to the Going to Meet Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the Going to Meet Concepts Baseball Podcast. And we got some contract extensions to discuss here on the show. The St. Louis Cardinals and Stephen Piscotty agreed to a 6-year deal on Monday, one day after the team's season opening win over the Chicago Cubs. So, he is not eligible for free agency until 2022, and he's one of the good young players on the squad. I think he has potential to be a really great player. But I like this deal for both sides. It gives them, really security for the future.
Definitely, I think it's a good move as well.
Yeah,
Cardinals are making a lot of extensions. They signed Molina last week to that monster deal as well.
Which we'll get into in a little bit. But before we move on, I wanted to discuss Stephen Piscotty from yesterday's game. He was hit. He went Scott Sterling on us yesterday. He went Scott Sterling, and
he's like a pinball.
If you don't know what Scott Sterling is, or you don't understand that reference, Google it, and you will be very happy. But he went totally Scott Sterling on us yesterday. He got hit, and he hit 3 times in 1 inning versus the Cubs. I think he got hit it was his only plate appearance too, I believe so. And he got hit on the head 3 times. I think especially at home plate. And he had to undergo concussion testing, so he was out for the rest of the game. So I was going to say, despite with him signing that contract extension, he had a little bit of bad luck.
he got roughed up a little bit.
Yeah,
like I said, he was like a little pinball out there.
That's what I said. He was like Scott Sterling, getting hit in the head for no good reason.
Poor guy. It's like, here's how you get rewarded with a new contract. Like, boom. Like right in the old noggin.
There you go. All right, and then, the Texas Rangers and Roughed Odor agreed to a contract extension as well. It was a 6-year deal worth $49.5 million. And, Roughed Odor, he was on the Venezuela baseball team in the World Baseball Classic, and I like this deal. Since being called up from the Rangers, Odor has hit 58 home runs with 197 RBIs, and has scored 182 times. So it's a lot of production from the second baseman there in Texas.
And it seems like he's definitely feeling good about himself right now because he's gotten off to a good start with the Rangers this season. Already got a couple home runs. He's hitting .375. And, okay, here's my question to you. Do you feel like the people who played in the WBC right now, I realize we're 2 games in, 1 game in, but they're maybe like a step ahead of some of these other guys because they have been playing competitive baseball, I guess you can say meaningful games. Like Brandon Crawford's doing good. He got a home run last night. He's got like 4 or 5 hits already. Do you feel like they're doing better because they played in that tournament as opposed to some of the others who didn't?
It's tough
or is
to
it
say.
too early to tell, right? We're 2 games in.
It's tough to say right now.
Because Odor, as you mentioned, did play for Venezuela, and he's gotten off to a great start.
Yeah, and I have seen that, I think, with a lot of the players in the World Baseball
Evan Longoria also doing well. He's hitting 500 through a couple games.
How is Nolan Arenado doing? Because I know he was
doing really well. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, but I know he at least got a home run, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, so, I kind of think the World Baseball Classic kind of helps some of these players a little bit because, when in spring training, you're facing pitchers you're facing starting pitchers for probably one inning, and then you face a lot of AAA, minor league guys after that. But in the World Baseball Classic, you're facing the best competition around the world. So I do think the World Baseball Classic has kind of helped these guys get into a groove here. Because I remember when the World Baseball Classic ended, Andrew McCutchen, in his first game back in spring training before the week started, hit his first home run.
Right, so I spoke a little too soon.
Yeah.
So Nolan Arenado does not have a home run yet, but he's hitting .429, so that's 3 hits and 7 at-bats. So again, another example of a guy who's doing well from playing in that.
Yeah, and they are scoring a lot of runs there. All right, so Yadier Molina, you did mention this a little bit earlier. He agreed to a 3-year, $60 million extension, and that is a really big, fat contract with a PH in the front of the word fat. So, he's spent his entire career as a Cardinal. I do think that maybe I wouldn't say they overpaid for him because I still think he's a really great catcher.
I think a lot of it is because of his leadership.
Exactly.
He's not necessarily he's not going to go out there and hit 30 home runs.
He's mainly a legacy player at this point in his career.
Right.
For the Cardinals.
He's such a leader and a veteran presence behind the plate, and he's one of those guys that you just need to have on your team. So when you have a chance, you need to lock him up.
Yeah, and Molina has been a great player, not just for the Cardinals, but he was regarded as the best catcher in baseball for a long time throughout his career. I think since 2004, he's been one of the best to do it at that position. And, his production with the bat has fallen off a little bit, but, he's still a great catcher. He can still throw guys out at second base. He's basically a legacy player at this point in his career. Yeah, and I don't think they overpaid for him, no. I think this is the right move for them right now because I think the contract goes to 2020, and I like this move.
Definitely. I think it's a guy, like I said, when you have a chance, you have to lock him up because of everything he means to the team, and there's the presence, a great fielder as well, multiple Gold Glove winner, so the Cardinals are like the model of consistency in baseball almost. Missed the playoffs last year, but I'm sure they'll be looking in contention this year. So I think they'll be okay. And it's a good addition. It's a thing you need to keep.
It's the toughest division, I think, and was the second toughest division in baseball, I think, in my opinion. And, Molina is 34. By the time this contract ends, he'll be 37. I think by the time this contract ends, I think he might call it a career. But who knows? He may play until he's 40. I can definitely see that happening, but I just don't see Molina going to another team if this contract ends unless St. Louis does another extension. But, he's been one of those players that has been playing for one team throughout his career. You don't see that in a lot of professional sports anymore. For example, you had Tom Brady playing for the Patriots his entire career. Recently we had Tony Romo who just walked away from the game. He played for the Cowboys his entire career. We got Kobe Bryant playing for the Lakers his entire career. I think, Yadier Molina is not on the upper echelon as those guys, but still, the fact that you play with the same team throughout your career is pretty amazing in itself. That doesn't happen a lot.
Definitely, no. It's tough. It's something in the free agency era you don't see it happen a lot.
You don't, and Molina, he's been one of the best catchers in the game. The best thing that he has done is basically run prevention. Like I said, he throws guys out at second base, and he was the best catcher in baseball for a reason. I don't think he's the best catcher in baseball anymore because people are going because he's not a really good hitter. He's still a great catcher, but as an overall catcher, I don't think he's in the top 5 anymore. And that's tough for me to say because I think he's been a legend at that position for years, but I don't think he's the best right now. But he's definitely best. He's definitely the best catcher on the Cardinals right now.
Exactly, and will be probably for a while now, especially with this monster deal for everything he does defensively and as a leader. That's why it's there.
Yeah, so out of these 3 contracts, I really like all of them. I think they had to get done. The Roughed Odor, he's there for 6 years. Stephen Piscotty, he's someone I'm really excited about in the future. He's going to be here to 2022. So Cardinals, they locked up 2 guys. and I didn't realize that till now, but the Cardinals, they made some moves to make sure their team stays in contention for the next couple of years. And they're never going to get contention. I know they missed the playoffs last year, but they were in contention that year as well. So
right, and a lot of injuries.
Yeah, if they can stay healthy, they can make the playoffs again.
And I'm sure they will. And coming up on the show next, Jeremiah, we got to get into our highly anticipated brand new segment.
It has been anticipated for weeks now.
We've been under the radar with it. We've known about it for a while. We've talked about it and discussed it. We announced it last week. We have the stud, and this is probably the worst week to debut it because literally no team has played more than 2 games. We have teams that have played 1 game. So it's probably not the best week to debut it, but we're going to start it. We have the stud of the week, which is the person that has done the best in our eyes or someone who really stood out. We have the dud of the week, the person who really kind of fluffed it, just really had a bad week. And then the team of the week, so the team that either did the best or a team that we really thought disappointed. So that's what we're going to be doing next year at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, coming up soon after the break.
Yes, we will return, guys. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to Going to Me Concepts Baseball Podcast. And guess what, guys? It's the highly anticipated segment of the week. This is Team of the Week, Dud of the Week, Stud of the Week. We got to make up a different
where are we even going to start?
I don't know. First of all, before we start, we got to make up a different name for this that's more catchy because that's a mouthful. Team of the Week, Stud of the Week, Dud of the Week.
We'll figure it out for next show.
How about this? Well, we will do Team of the Week, and then we're going to do the studs and the duds. So, You want to start off? Do the honors, Ben?
So my Team of the Week, I'm going to go with the Houston Astros, and this is tough. We're only 2 games in. But they've obviously beaten the Mariners twice already, so they're 2-0. And I like their pitching. They've only given up 1 run through 2 games. Great opening start by Dallas Keuchel. And then you have Lance McCullers with a great start yesterday. So I'm going to go with the Houston Astros.
Okay. And I almost went with them. I had a couple of teams I wanted to, name the team of the week. But it's tough when you have 2 games. I think it's going to be easier to do this segment next week.
Right, we'll have 5, 6, 7 games.
3 teams. I almost went with the Dodgers, but then I realized they play the Padres.
And they kind of gave us an L yesterday. Getting shut out.
And I almost went with the Colorado Rockies, but then I realized they're playing Milwaukee at Miller Park. That are not a really good team. I decided to go with the 3rd team in this, and it may be a little too obvious, but I'm going to have to go with the Cleveland Indians here. They did start off the year 2-0 with 2 straight wins against the Rangers. They won opening day 8-5, and then they won yesterday 4-3 as they're heading to the finale later today in Texas, in Arlington, I believe. But, I do think, this team is getting out to real good starts. Rangers, they're no slouches. They're no slouches either.
Yeah, definitely a tough team.
Yeah, and when I look at how this pitching rotation has performed so far, it hasn't been great, but it hasn't been that bad either. Corey Kluber, he did allow 5 earned runs, so, he was kind of a dud. He didn't make the dud of the week, though. And, we got Carlos Carrasco, who did really... Oh, he did okay. He did throw 7 strikeouts and 5 2/3 innings. But I just think, with the fact that their pitching struggled to begin, their offense was there. So, I do think that they find ways to win. That's what I've seen so far from the Indians.
Okay, now let's move on to the stud of the week. I went first. You go first this time.
All right.
I know you teased it already. So.
I did tease it. I went with Madison Bumgarner. And I did it for a couple reasons. For one, he's the first pitcher to ever hit 2 home runs on opening day. Did you just hear what I said? The first pitcher ever to hit 2 home runs on opening day. He's a pitcher. You know what I find even more fascinating than that is he hit, obviously, his first home run off Zach Greinke. Yes,
Zach Greinke used to play with the Dodgers. Bumgarner's homered off him off already. Did you see in his first at-bat, Madison Bumgarner's, Greinke almost like pitched around him. He's like, I already know what this guy's capable of. I'm not even going to bother. And he's like, okay, like, he got a walk. I'll throw it to him this time. Bang. Out of the park. Like, dude's incredible.
Yeah, he is. He's incredible, and he's tied for the league in home runs right now at 2.
in 2 at-bats, I might add.
Exactly. And he also went on the mound and threw for 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. But, he didn't get the win because of my dud of the week. But before we get to that, you got to get to your stud.
All right, so this is kind of tough. Bumgarner's obviously the breakout performer, I guess you could say, this week. But I'm going to go with Chase Headley of the Yankees. He's got 5 hits and 8 at-bats, so he's hitting .625 already. He's already got 3 runs scored, so he's getting on base and getting home. Got a couple of RBIs, hit a home run, stolen a base. He's kind of doing it all right now for the Yankees, so I'm going to go with Chase Headley.
Okay, that's not bad. Really under the radar type of player there in New York. For the dud, I think I kind of previewed it already. I think I kind of spoiled it already. But I'm going to go with Mark Melancon. And I know it's one game, it's one appearance, but he was brought here. He was brought to the Giants to close out games. And, he just throws he allowed 4 hits and 2 home runs in this first game ever as the Giants. And remember, he had how many blown saves in how many years? I
believe it's 10 in the last 3 with the Nationals.
Exactly. And remember, he played with the Pirates too. So he didn't have a lot. He already has 1.
In 1 outing. Yeah, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I know.
It's just okay, same story with the Giants almost,
Yeah, and that's been the theme of the...
Because even Derek Law didn't pitch too good in the 8th inning.
Yeah, that was the theme of the team last year in the... and they made that playoff push in August and September, and of course the playoffs when they lost to the Cubs in the NLDS. But maybe I'm just overreacting a little bit.
And I might be too with mine, but I'm going to go with Yankees again. I'm going to go with Masahiro Tanaka for his opening day start on Sunday. Absolutely got lit up. Jeremiah, the worst opening day start by a Yankees pitcher ever.
That is hard to do. I'm not gonna lie.
He went 2 2/3 innings and gave up 7 runs, a couple of home runs, a really, really bad outing for Tanaka. Not the way you want to sort of get going back after all the injuries he's had the last couple of years. Remember, he started really good the last couple of years, and then injuries kind of caught up to him. And then this year, ouch! Right off the bat, 7 runs in 2 2/3 innings. That's my dud of the week. And I'm also gonna stick with another team in New York. I'm gonna go with the Mets. The Mets did win their only game they've played over the Braves 6-0. But they already have Seth Lugo, who has a partially torn UCL. Might have to have Tommy John surgery, so he'd, of course, be done for the year. And then you have Noah Syndergaard, my boy, my pick for the Cy Young, Thor. He had to leave the game early with a blister on his throwing hand. So, new season, same Mets pitching concerns.
New season, same story. So, yeah.
Same Trevor story.
No, that was a terrible pun. That was terrible. Oh, my gosh, Ben. No.
Well, I was thinking about picking Jock Peterson for my stud, Jock Peterson.
Young Jock Petey, but you did a little...
He only did it 1 game.
No,
he has 1 hit, and he had a grand slam.
I'm kind of glad you didn't go with him because of what you did there in the break. You're like, I'm going to go with Young Jock Petey, and then you did the Young...
I didn't say Petey.
But you're like, Young Jock Petey, meet me at the...
Meet me at Chavez Ravine. It's going down.
Stop it. All right.
Yeah, but I was thinking about going Jock Peterson, but I didn't because he only has 1 hit.
And it's a grand slam. It was a good hit. Not only that, everyone else in that team hit really well too. But I think this went really well. I think next week we'll have a little more options to talk about in this segment.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. But that's going to conclude the show for this week, guys. And don't forget, the season started. It just got underway. We have a long season ahead of us. And we will be back next week to discuss any type of baseball news that happens throughout the week of baseball. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
My name is Ben.
And this was the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. You guys have a good week. And go ahead, man. Watch some baseball, guys. Watch some baseball.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.